Hey there, it's Jill, back with my second card for the Painted Petals July 24 paper pumpkin kit. If you saw my first video, you know that I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of extra things with these cards. This kit's just gorgeous the way that it is. But if you want to use the cards and jazz them up into another card without really needing any tools outside of the kit, then I've got a good set of 3 cards here for you. I used the daisy card for this one, the whole card. Here's the one side of it. I used the envelope on this one as well, but the envelopes are also gorgeous, so do not feel you need to cut out your envelope to put that on the inside. You'll have pieces left over that you could just glue on there to jazz that up a little bit. But so let me tell you what I did. I cut the card in half first. Let me get my pieces here. So here's the card. I cut the card in half. I trimmed this piece to 5 1/4 by 4. You could have cut on the 1/8 if you wanted to. Then I cut the other side of the card to 2 5/8 by 5 3/8 inches to go on this piece here. And then we're going to use the little flower piece, and then for this I will use the strip on it. Let me set that aside. And here is what we're going to use: a full sheet of cardstock. I have Old Olive here. So what you're going to do first is put the cardstock in your trimmer, and at the 5 1/2 is half of the paper. I want you to cut on like a 1/16 smaller than 5 1/2. So like right in here. So if you went to the little line there, I divided up between those two. You just want a little smidge smaller so that this piece will fold and lay down. So put your trimmer, put this in the trimmer right there. Trim all the way down to 5 inches. And then trim up from the bottom 3/4 of an inch. All right. Then you can turn your paper and put this in your, and then score at 4 1/4, because that's where you want it to fold in half. And then cut down at the 3/4 mark all the way down till that releases. And then here, this is 5, so cut all the way down until it releases down here as well. Then turn your paper again and score right here at 5 1/2. That gives you that little tiny smidge that you're going to need between the two pieces so that this will lay flat like that. All right. So then from here, I'm just going to put this little flap out. We're going to work with our flap, and I've cut this piece to, like I said, 2 this is 2 3/4 here. Let me just verify that real quick. Yes, 2 3/4. So I cut this down on the 1/8. So we got 2 5/8 by 5 3/8. So we're going to glue this down, and I'm going to tell you that we're going to cut out a rectangle. So if you have a rectangle die, it is a, let me see, because I had to use one of the stitched rectangles. I used one that was 3 1/2 inches long. That is pretty much the one that we want. So if you can cut it out of this piece, then put this piece on here and cut it again so that each time you're only cutting through one piece of paper, or you can glue this piece on and roll and roll and roll and roll till it cuts through both pieces. I'm going to do it one piece at a time. I'm going to do that just for my own peace of mind. So let's put this on our paper here and see if we can kind of, I'm going to go up toward the top because I'm going to put a bow on it. Let's see if we're centered on our paper the best we can. I'm going to say that looks pretty good. Now that I moved it, I got too much. Nope, we're going to go right there. If I quit moving it. Alright, so I'm going to glue this down with my little tacky tape, and then I'm going to go cut this out. Then we're going to release the inner part. Then I'm going to say we can glue it onto our card. Get that out of the way again. And we'll want to glue that onto here. Secure that down where we want it. Okay, let that go. And then now we're going to run it through our cutter machine again, our die cut machine. And I'm going to run it through just to here. And you can keep going a little bit more, it's okay. There's a chance it might make a mark on here, depends where your plates are resting on it, but go ahead and run it through again and cut out the second layer. You should be able to feel it as you roll it through. You should be able to feel like a little kerthunk kerthunk as it's going over the die, and know that you've gone over both parts of it. Oh man. Let's see if I can get that. Okay. I'm going to pluck that out of there. Probably could have rolled it through one more time, but there we go. All right, so now we got that closing down over the top. Fix that a little bit. All right, so now we've got our flowers, and they are going to fill in this hole now. And the other one I didn't lay on there quite right. Let's see if I flip this up, if it's gonna, see if I got enough to cover the hole on top and bottom. No, it's gonna stick over no matter what. So I think I'd rather have it stick over on the bottom because we've got the leaves down there, these little pieces that will protect it. So I'm just going to put it on the perimeter. Because that's all we got room to stick down. And like I said, I want the top to definitely be up here. And the sides, it should be pretty much the right width, like so. And like I said, we'll have a little bit showing down here on the bottom, but I like that better. Just eyeball it like mine had the stitching on it, so I'm just making sure that the stitching is good. And then that part is done, right? So now we're going to take our front panel, and I did stamp on that. I stamped the You're Simply the Best on there. And you guys, guess what? I ripped it. When I took it off the block, I ripped the exclamation point off. So be very careful with yours that you don't do that. I was able to use my glue and glue it back on. We will see if it holds. This is the first time I'm using it since I ripped it off. I've got Mossy Meadow. And let's see if I get that on there. Kind of in the middle. Eyeball it. Let's see how it... Oh, it's stamped like it fixed it okay. Nice. All right, then we're going to glue this onto the front panel of the card. Right here. I got a little bit bigger border. I went on the quarter for this piece. And so your main point here is to have this piece down here, your stamping, to be covered by this. All right. And then now for the inside, I have just plain white that is 5 1/4 by 4. I'm gonna glue this on. You can stamp inside. If you're gonna stamp, be sure and stamp before you glue it on, just in case. And then I'm gonna use, after we cut the piece off for here, we have this much left, and this is where I trimmed that from. I cut a 1/2 inch by 5 1/4 inch strip off, and I'm just going to glue that on here. But if you would like to use an envelope, I just fussy cut off. Let me show you what I did. I fussy cut, here's the side of the envelope. I took the this part and I moved it all the way over to the right hand side, and then I cut around, eliminated this leaf and came down, and then tried to round this off a little bit so it wasn't quite so harshly squared off. And then I stamped "Let's Celebrate You" inside there, which we can still stamp in here if we wanted to. But there's our second card. Oh, I got to put a bow on it. I have the... What ribbon did I grab? White iridescent ribbon. I just made a bow. Finagled the ends around so that they were both where I wanted them. Tie it as tight as you want it. And then I used my tear and tape. I think I want it tighter than that, but I used my tear and tape and stuck it to the front right here. You could use glue dots. You could try your actual glue, but I'm going to flip it over. Just put a string of tear tape on there. Try not to manhandle it too much so my ends don't fray. And then I glued it on there onto the bottom. Let's fix those. And that is our second card. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with my third card here in a minute.